Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. I'm here to talk about the Harley Quinn Valentine's special, which was called a very problematic Valentine's Day special. So it starts out with Superman and Lois on a couch giving a testimonial about their relationship. And Superman talks about how they both worked at the Daily Planet for 3 years before they ever met. And, it was really cute. Then we see Shark King and his woman making a clay pot or something, a la Ghost, but it turns out to be Clayface, which freaks them out, and that was hilarious. The Riddler proposes to Clock King, and Catwoman leaves Bruce a box of bat-shaped chocolates. Even Joker is making out with his girl. Of course, over all of this, Harley has been doing a voiceover about how much she loves Valentine's Day, only to have Ivy say that she doesn't like it for multiple reasons, including the fact that it's a mass genocide for roses. Despite this, she agrees to go on a romantic dinner with Harley, for which Harley puts on an awesome outfit. Meanwhile, it seems like Clayface is being catfished by someone pretending to be Jason Momoa, who apparently exists as an actor in this universe, which is interesting. And Bane is lamenting the fact that he's not with anyone, as well as that people on dating apps seem not to use proper grammar. As Harley and Ivy are having dinner, some gangsters burst in, shoot their waiter in the head, and demand the recipe to one of his new experimental dishes, which he promptly hands over. Harley and Ivy decide to chase after them because they don't want the recipe to fall in the wrong hands, because the item is so good and they just don't want that to happen. So they give chase behind the sports car, which was either some kind of Lamborghini or a Bugatti, in a horse and buggy. Of course, Ivy is able to stop the sports car with her plant powers and retrieve the recipe, but we learn that the people who took it were working on behalf of the executive of an oil company, who soon shows up in a helicopter demanding the recipe from Ivy, with Harley at gunpoint, at which Ivy uses her plant powers to jostle the helicopter in such a way that the blades decapitate the dude. Afterwards, it turns out that the recipe was not a recipe, it was just a card from Harley that says she loves Ivy, and that she set up the whole thing just special for Ivy, which is cool and awesome and funny, except they just murdered the oil CEO guy. Anyway, it turns out that Harley also arranged for Etrigan to show up in a swan boat on the lake in the park where they chased the bad guys to, and blast some fireworks in the sky that say Harlivy forever, using his demon powers. Then Hawkman and Hawkgirl give a testimonial and explain that over the course of 5,000 years, they've gotten together, gotten murdered, gotten reincarnated, gotten together again over and over, and it was very funny. Clayface goes on a blind date, only to find out that he's been led to a dark alley by a scammer who turns out to be the original Captain Boomerang. The original Captain Boomerang. Flash Season 9 premiere. To try to rob Clayface, who of course isn't carrying any money. Meanwhile, Bane goes walking around through Gotham alone and depressed, and he happens to meet a woman who thinks he's her coworker, whom she has shown up at an address to work with as a dominatrix team, and so he goes along with it. Harley then puts on an Amazon outfit and goes to see Diana Prince, and tricks her into thinking that Themyscira is under attack. And when she changes into Wonder Woman, which is cool, and goes out the window, Harley, for some reason, snags her lasso of truth without her noticing. Then we get a cute little testimony from Killer Croc and Enchantress. Turns out that Clayface got cut in half by Captain Boomerang, and that his button legs also contain his psyche. So now there are two Clayfaces. And then they sing to each other after arguing over which half is dominant and needs to absorb the other half. They then declare that they both identify as fluid in terms of gender, which is funny because they are fluid. And apparently they're in love with each other? I don't know. It seems that Harley wanted to know the real truth about Ivy's feelings regarding how good her Valentine's Day was. And it turns out that it was only in her top 3, even though she had said it was the best. But Ivy explains that she was perfectly happy with it because it was great, and that she just wants to have the perfect ending to the day by binging some TV with Harley before having sex, which seems to satisfy Harley, but then she pretends to go to the bathroom and takes off out the window. Then we get to see Bane and his new friend working a guy over as a dominatrix duo, a scene during which they really seem to connect, leading her to invite him over to his place after. Bane is excited about this, but apparently he's worried because it seems like he has a small noodle if you take into account how big he is and the size of his noodle, which he already knows his new girlfriend doesn't like because she picked on the size of the noodle of the client that they were working over. Next, we find that the reason Harley bugged out is because she went to see Etrigan, who operates some kind of sex shop, because she's seeking a spell so she can give Ivy the biggest ever. As she's on her way back, we see that Flash is having a romantic interlude with Zatanna. She reaches home and cue the Humpty Rumptus dance, which only wasn't X-rated because of some skillfully placed plant life. And in this scene, Ivy, in fact, does experience the best ever, which sends out a wave of her pheromones or something that makes everybody in Gotham super horny. Next, we get a testimonial from Aquaman and Queen Mira, which was kind of cute, I guess. We then find that Clayface can't touch his other half, even though he wants to, because it would reabsorb him, so they have to have sort of an unrequited love thing, I guess. But then they get hit with a wave of Ivy's pheromones and almost can't resist. Bane goes to visit Etrigan to increase the size of his situation. And because he's using HGH as well, it has a side effect and makes him gigantic size from head to toe before he gets hit by the horny wave, which is also affecting all the animals in Gotham, by the way, and runs around looking for sex, which he finds by humping buildings and demolishing them. Then we get a testimonial from Darkseid about his relationship with some lady who remains unidentified before we see Clayface and his other half romancing each other from inside isolation bubbles. But this scene ends with his lower half going away because I guess he finds it too torturous to not be able to touch the top half. Before Harley and Ivy can do anything to fix Bane, he sees an electric billboard advertising a show by one of the actors from Ted Lasso, and he goes crazy trying to bang the guy's image on it, which results in him accidentally destroying Ivy's favorite restaurant, which massively pisses her off. But she and Harley put the argument aside to focus on stopping Bane from screwing and destroying every building in town on his way to find the actual actor where he's performing in the city. When he, in his quest to get where he's going, steps on Clayface, who was trying to sell his tickets to the show near the venue, who was joined there by his other half for some reason, even though he said he couldn't be near him. And when he stepped on, they get squished together and merge. Harley and Ivy show up and ask Clayface to turn into a giant version of the actor so they can manipulate Bane. And even though he's heartbroken and doesn't feel like he can do it at first, he realizes that it's the ultimate acting challenge and he does it. Harley instructs him to trigger Bane's distaste for his pet peeves, which we know includes some poor grammar that people tend to use, which Harley knows because he put it on the dating app on his profile. And the plan here is to stop him from being horny, and fortunately, it works. Betty shows up on the scene. This is Bane's dominatrix friend, because she saw him trying to bang every building in the city and says that she's ready to jam with him. Ivy then tells Harley that she doesn't have to worry about trying to always make things the best this or the best that, because their relationship is the best one she's ever been in, and that's all that matters. At which point, Harley says she wants to know what Ivy's best Valentine's Day was, and she explains that it was when she was in Arkham on Valentine's Day at one point, feeling absolutely worthless, until Dr. Harleen Quinzel showed up, who of course is Harley, with some chocolate milk she'd brought for her, at which point she stayed with her to describe the entire plot of Shrek 2 to her because she couldn't believe that Ivy had never seen it. We close out the special with a testimonial from Harley and Ivy, who basically explain how they got to be a couple, even though as they do so, they note that the audience clearly knows this, and we learn that all the testimonials were being given to the audience as opposed to someone in universe that was making some kind of documentary or something. And they close out this testimonial by saying, Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. So I really liked this special. I love the characters in this universe, the way they have, written them, the way they treat them. I love the relationship between Harley and Ivy. And, it's always very funny and edgy. Clayface was funny. Bane was even funnier. It was great to see all the A-list characters, Aquaman, Superman, Wonder Woman especially, Flash. That was really cool. I liked that a lot. The testimonials were very cute. I will say that I thought this was too long. I think they should have cut out the part with Clayface. I don't think it really added to the special. And while I normally think Clayface is the funniest thing in the episodes, he wasn't this time. It was really Bane. So they could have, I think, left out the whole Clayface thing and made it less long. And I think that would have been better than having it as long as it was. But I mean, it was really great. There's a lot of funny jokes. It was funny to see all the animals going at it. It was funny to see everybody going at it, and Etrigan is very funny, the way he rhymes things, even if they are about sex and stuff. So it was just very good, which, isn't that surprising because it's a very good show. But there isn't much more to say about it than that. It was just really good. and I, highly recommend it to everyone. I'll definitely be back to review the episodes of the upcoming season, which I'm guessing will be this year or next year. And for now, I'm going to get out of here. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.